Drone footage reveals a hitman's identity, but the government wants it deleted. When 19-year-old drone photographer Leo Cruz uploaded his latest footage of the city skyline, he thought he'd captured the perfect sunset. But hidden in the corner of the frame was something far more sinister: a clean, professional assassination on a rooftop below. When Leo used his own facial recognition software to enhance the killer's face, a name and government ID popped up. He thought he'd solved a murder. He didn't know he'd just exposed a covert agent. And an hour later, two men in black suits were at his door, demanding he delete the files or disappear with them. Before we start, like this video and comment "Truth Exposed" if you stand for transparency. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories. Now let's begin. The frame that changed everything. There's a moment when a life can split in two, not with a bang, not with a scream, not even with a choice, just a frame. A single, silent 1/30th of a second, captured by a lens pointed at the wrong place at the wrong time. For Leo Cruz, that moment came bathed in golden hour light. The sky bleeding orange and pink over the San Francisco skyline. The Bay Bridge glittering like a necklace of steel and sodium vapor. He was 400 feet in the air, or rather, his drone was. He sat cross-legged on the rooftop of his apartment building, tablet in hand, fingers gently nudging the joystick, eyes half-lidded in that meditative state only drone pilots understand. He was filming for a class project, urban landscapes through the lens of autonomous flight. Nothing political, nothing dangerous, just beauty, just patterns, just light. He didn't see the two men on the adjacent rooftop. He didn't hear the muffled scuffle. He didn't witness the shove, but his drone did. And in the lower right corner of frame 2874, timestamp 6:42 and 17 seconds p.m., it captured the exact moment Dr. Eris Thorne, world-renowned climate scientist and vocal critic of federal environmental policy, was pushed off the roof of the Helios Tower. Leo didn't know it yet, but he had just filmed his own death warrant, and the only people who could save him were the same ones who wanted it destroyed. The boy who saw patterns. Leo Cruz didn't believe in chaos. At 19, he was already a prodigy, a sophomore at UC Berkeley majoring in astrophysics with a minor in computational imaging. He saw the universe as a series of elegant algorithms: gravity, light, entropy, all governed by rules, all waiting to be decoded. His apartment, a cramped studio in Oakland's Temescal district, looked like a tech startup exploded inside a dorm room. Drones in various states of disassembly lined the shelves. Soldering iron sat beside half-eaten burritos. 3 monitors glowed with lines of Python, MATLAB, and custom facial recognition scripts he'd been refining for a DARPA-sponsored university research grant. His walls were covered not in band posters or sports memorabilia, but in star charts, satellite trajectories, and printouts of fractal patterns he found aesthetically logical. He didn't have many friends. Not because he was unfriendly. He was warm, quick to laugh, generous with his knowledge, but because most people didn't speak his language. The language of vectors, of pixels, of probability distributions. His only real companion was his drone, a custom-built quadcopter he called Icarus, equipped with a 4K stabilized gimbal, thermal overlay, and a neural net he'd trained to auto-track migratory birds for aesthetic composition, he claimed. He flew Icarus every evening, not for thrills, for peace. Up there, above the noise, above the traffic, above the shouting and the deadlines and the loneliness, everything made sense, until it didn't. The lie they called suicide. Leo didn't check his footage until the next morning. He was hungover, not from alcohol, but from code. He'd stayed up until 3 a.m. debugging a segmentation fault in his object detection model. He plugged in the SD card, queued up the sunset sequence, and started trimming clips for his presentation. He was halfway through when he froze. Rewound, zoomed in, his breath caught. There, in the corner of the frame, rooftop of Helios Tower, 2 figures, one in a gray coat, one in a lab coat. A brief struggle, a shove, a body, arms flailing, vanishing over the edge. Leo's stomach dropped. He knew that building, knew that man, Dr. Eris Thorne. He'd seen him speak at a campus rally just 2 weeks ago. Passionate, furious, warning of institutional sabotage of climate data. The crowd had cheered. The administration had issued a statement urging civil discourse. Now, according to the 7 a.m. news alert flashing on his second monitor, Dr. Thorne was dead. Renowned scientists found dead in apparent suicide. Police confirmed no foul play suspected. Leo's hands trembled. He isolated the 3-second clip, enhanced the resolution, slowed it to 0.1x speed. There was no doubt this was murder. Cold, calculated, executed in broad daylight. Hidden only by height, angle, and the assumption that no one was watching. Leo grabbed his tablet, threw on a hoodie, and ran to the nearest police precinct. The system that chooses lies. Detective Roland Miller looked like he hadn't slept in a week, or cared to. He sat behind a cluttered desk, sipping black coffee from a chipped World's Okayest Dad mug, eyes glazed over as Leo breathlessly explained what he'd seen, what he'd captured, what he knew. And the angle is perfect, sir. You can see the push. Clear as day. I have the raw footage. Unedited. Time-stamped. GPS tagged. Miller held up a hand. Kid, he sighed, not unkindly. We get drone footage of UFOs, Bigfoot, and government lizard people every other Tuesday. You're not the first kid with fancy toys who thinks he solved a crime. But this is real. The case is closed, son. Coroner ruled it suicide. Families grieving. Media's moved on. We're not reopening it because of a shaky cell phone video. It's not a cell phone. It's a 4K drone cam with Euro stabilization and doesn't matter. Miller leaned back, rubbing his temples. Even if I believed you, and I don't, you're talking about implicating someone powerful. Thorne had enemies, lobbyists, senators, hell, half the damn EPA. You really think we're going to charge someone based on a 3-second clip from a college kid's hobby cam? Leo's face burned. It's not a hobby. It's evidence. Miller finally looked at him. Really looked. And what Leo saw in the detective's eyes wasn't skepticism. It was pity. Go home. Leo, edit your pretty sunsets. Leave the police work to the police. The dismissal wasn't hostile. It was bureaucratic. Final. The system had chosen a neat lie over a messy truth. And Leo? He was just a glitch in the machine. The ghost in the glass. Leo didn't go home. He went to the campus lab. He locked the door, pulled down the blinds, and began to dissect frame 2874 like a surgeon. He zoomed in on the killer, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark overcoat, face obscured by a baseball cap pulled low. Useless. Then he saw it, a reflection, in the polished steel vent hood on the rooftop. Just as the killer turned away after the push, his face caught the dying sunlight. For one frame, one single, shimmering, distorted frame. To the human eye, a blur, a smudge, a trick of the light. To Leo's AI, a puzzle. He fed the fragment into Veritas, the open-source facial recognition model he'd been developing for his research project. Designed to reconstruct faces from partial data, cross-referencing against public databases. DMV records, passport photos, LinkedIn headshots, conference badges. He set the parameters. Reconstruct, enhance, match. Then he went to sleep on the lab couch. At 4:17 a.m., the system pinged. Leo jolted awake. On screen 3, a match glowed in green. 99.98% confidence. Name, David Chase. Age, 47. Current employment, Logistics Coordinator, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Leo stared. A weatherman? He pulled up Chase's public LinkedIn profile. Smiling, balding, wearing a NOAA polo shirt at a hurricane preparedness seminar. Holding a coffee, giving a thumbs up. Nothing in his eyes suggested he was capable of murder. But Leo knew better. He wrote a new script, gait scan, analyzing the killer's walk in the seconds before the push. Stride length, hip rotation, arm swing, posture. Then he scraped every public video he could find of NOAA staff events and compared. The match wasn't in the face. It was in the body. David Chase walked like a soldier, not a bureaucrat. The slight forward lean, the economical arm movement, the way his head stayed perfectly level, scanning, assessing. Leo had seen it before. In military recruitment videos his ROTC friends watched. This wasn't a logistics coordinator. This was a ghost, a government asset, and he had just executed a scientist in cold blood. Leo's hand shook as he compiled the evidence. Enhanced frames, gate analysis graphs, database matches, metadata logs. He attached it all to an email. Recipients: the New York Times, the Washington Post, ProPublica, The Guardian, Wired, Motherboard, 12 major TV networks. Subject: evidence of state-sponsored assassination. Dr. Eris Thorne was murdered. He hovered over send, took a breath, clicked. Error. Connection interrupted. He tried again. Error. DNS lookup failed. He pulled out his phone. No signal. Wi-Fi dead. He ran to the window. 3 black SUVs, no plates, were parked outside the lab building. His blood turned to ice. The men in the hallway. They didn't knock. They didn't need to. Leo heard the key card swipe at the lab door. He dove under his desk, yanking out the external hard drive containing the raw footage and AI models. The door opened. 2 men stepped inside. Not police, not FBI. They wore dark, tailored suits that cost more than Leo's monthly rent. No ties, no badges, just an air of absolute, unshakable authority. The taller one, mid-50s, salt and pepper hair, eyes like glacier ice, scanned the room. "Mr. Cruz," he said, voice calm, almost pleasant. "You've been very busy." Leo didn't move. The second man, younger, bulkier, with a neck thicker than Leo's thigh, walked to the server rack and unplugged it. "No need to be dramatic," the tall man said. "We're not here to hurt you. We're here to clarify." He pulled out a tablet, played Leo's enhanced footage, paused on David Chase's reconstructed face. "You're good, Leo. Exceptionally good. Better than our internal analysts. That's why we're making you an offer." Leo crawled out from under the desk, hard drive clutched to his chest. "Who are you?" The man smiled, not warmly. "Let's say I represent an agency that appreciates talent and discretion." He stepped closer. "David Chase is an asset. Dr. Thorne's research into geoengineering thresholds was deemed destabilizing. His public statements were inciting panic. His data was being weaponized by foreign actors. His death was a necessary recalibration." Leo's voice was a whisper. "You're admitting it. You just admitted you killed him." The man's smile didn't waver. "I'm admitting nothing. I'm explaining context and offer you a choice." He pulled out Leo's phone, which Leo hadn't even realized was missing, dialed a number, put on speaker. A new voice answered, calm, weathered, southern accented. "Son," it said, "you have a choice. You can be a problem we contain, or you can be the sharpest set of eyes we've ever recruited." Leo's breath hitched. The voice continued. "The truth isn't something you find. It's something we create, and we could use a creator." Silence. The tall man took the phone. "Think carefully, Leo. Your mother's medical bills, your student loans, that research grant you're about to lose, all of it can disappear, or it can be replaced with something better." Leo looked at the hard drive in his hands, at the footage, at the face of a killer employed by his own government. He thought of Dr. Thorne, of the lie they'd sold the world, of the silence that would follow if he said no. He closed his eyes. What would I have to do?" The tall man's smile widened. "Exactly what you're best at, Leo. Seeing what no one else can." The silence that follows. The next 72 hours were a blur. Leo's personal website, leocruz.tech, vanished from the internet. His social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, GitHub, were wiped clean. His university issued a statement. Asterisk, Leo Cruz has accepted a prestigious, confidential internship with a federal research consortium. His projects are now classified. Asterisk, the news corrected Dr. Thorne's cause of death. Asterisk, coroner's office confirms error. Death now ruled accidental fall due to unstable rooftop railing. Asterisk, no mention of David Chase. No investigation. No outrage. Just silence. Leo moved into a new apartment, paid for, furnished, located in a secure building in D.C. His internship was at a nondescript office building with no signage. His badge granted him access to level 7, a windowless floor humming with servers and analysts in headsets. His job? To train AI models to scan global satellite, drone, and CCTV feeds, to find anomalies, to identify assets, to erase inconveniences. He was given a new drone, military grade, encrypted, undetectable. He flew it over borders he wasn't allowed to name. He watched men disappear into alleys. He tagged vehicles for interdiction. He reconstructed faces from thermal signatures. He became the ghost in the machine, the watcher, the eraser, the creator of truth, the boy who still looks up. Leo doesn't fly for fun anymore. He doesn't watch sunsets. He doesn't post photos. But sometimes, late at night, when the servers are quiet and his handler is gone, he pulls up an old, encrypted backup. Frame 2874. The push, the fall, the reflection. David Chase's face. Clear now, even without enhancement. He stares at it, not with rage, not with fear, with understanding. He knows now that the world isn't governed by astrophysics. It's governed by shadows, by men in suits who decide which truths live and which die. He saved himself. But at what cost? He thinks of Dr. Thorne, of the research buried, of the warnings silenced. He thinks of his mother, her medical bills paid in full, her new condo overlooking the bay. He thinks of the students back at Berkeley, still debating climate policy, still believing in justice, still flying drones for beauty. He envies them. He mourns for them. And sometimes, just sometimes, he wonders, what if I'd hit send? What if I'd run? What if I'd screamed? But he didn't. He chose to live. And in choosing to live, he chose to forget, or at least to pretend. The truth is a currency. Leo sits at his desk now, in his windowless room, surrounded by screens, feeding footage into machines that decide who lives and who vanishes. He is 20 years old. He has no social media, no public record, no fingerprints in the system. He is a ghost, a useful ghost, and he knows, with chilling certainty, that he is not the first, nor will he be the last. Because the government doesn't delete footage. It deletes people. It recruits the ones who see too much. It breaks the ones who won't look away. And it buries the rest. Leo looks at the sky through the security cam feed on monitor 4. It's sunset again. Golden hour. Beautiful. Peaceful. He knows better. He knows what hides in the light. What moves in the shadows. What waits in the silence between frames. He saved himself. But the boy who believed in patterns, in truth, in justice, that boy is gone. And in his place, a man who knows the most dangerous thing you can do is see something you were never meant to see. The frame that lingered. They never asked Leo to delete the original footage. They didn't need to. They knew he'd keep it, not as a threat, not as leverage, but as a reminder of who he was, of what he lost, of the price of survival. It sits now, encrypted, triple backed up, hidden in a partition even his handlers can't access. Labeled only, frame _2874_final_truth.avi. He watches it sometimes, not to relive the horror, but to remember the choice. The moment his life split in two, and the path he didn't take. Because sometimes, the most powerful act of rebellion is remembering, even when they make you forget. If you believe some secrets are too dangerous to keep buried, like this video, subscribe to Digital Detective, and share this story. Comment below, what would you have done in his place? Comment #TruthExposed if you stand for transparency. Stay tuned for our next story. A janitor hacked the city security system to stop a bomb in 7 minutes.